Any idea the kind of risks a woman like me takes every time she agrees to have a little fun?
Never thought about it that way.
Of course you haven't. You're not a woman.
Love hurts.
You seem like a nice guy.
Love scars.
But the real issue is safety.
Love wounds.
That's life or death.
And more.
So I'm gonna have to ask you a question. Are you a serial killer?
What did you just say?
I've seen all good people turn their heads each day, so satisfied I'm on my way. I've seen all good people turn their heads each day, so satisfied I'm on my way. Take a straight and stronger course to the corner of your life. Make the White Queen run so fast, she hasn't got time to make you wife. 'Cause it's time in time with your time, and this news is captured.
Probable cause and reasonable suspicion, they've caused many law students to fail criminal law, and they're not even lawyers now because they just couldn't get this. I'm going to boil it down for you free of charge. I want you to consider the backdrop for our discussion today as a simple idea. What gives the cops the right to interrupt your day? Because we're all busy, we all have things to do. Being stopped by the police is never a happy thing. Even if I deserve it, like I deserve it for speeding all the time, I'm rolling stop signs. I get that. I'm not a perfect driver, but that's what we're talking about today. Why do they get to stop somebody? You know, this is America. Cops cannot pull you over because they just feel like it. They have to have an articulable reason to do it. And we call those reasons reasonable suspicion, probable cause, or a warrant. And we're not even covering warrants today, but we're just covering the other stuff. So the weakest excuse a cop's going to have to pull you over or stop you on the street is what we call reasonable suspicion that you've committed a crime. It's a very low level of information that they have to have that they're suspecting a crime has been or will be committed. They don't need solid evidence for this. But it does have to be more than a hunch, does have to be more than a gut feeling. If all an officer has is reasonable suspicion, they do get to stop you, but they can't search your car, they can't arrest you. There's some things they can't do, right? Now, I would like to run through a couple of real life examples. Our first one is pretty basic. Let's say that your wife suspects you of cheating. Now, some women out there believe that the very fact that we are men is going to provide you a base level, a constant level of reasonable suspicion of shenanigans. Naturally, I disagree. Stay with me here. In legal terms, what would be reasonable suspicion that you're cheating? Aside from the fact that you're a man. Let's get a little beyond that, even though I would say there's some must-see TV on this very issue. Eddie Murphy's classic Raw, check that out. So, to get your wife to a level of reasonable suspicion that cheating is afoot, let's say she spots you on your phone, you're texting late at night, and then you quickly hide it as she approaches. You're hiding your phone and doing all these things. That is reasonable suspicion, but it isn't proof that you're cheating. After all, you could be hiding that surprise all-inclusive trip to Sandals, or you could be hiding the fact that you just got that new bow for that new Lexus you're going to have parked outside. You're going to surprise her with it. You've seen the commercials with the big bows. So you might be hiding something good. But still, she's got a reasonable suspicion, but she's got no hard evidence that you're up to no good. Now, for a legal example of reasonable suspicion, let's take an officer sees a guy stumbling out of a bar, getting into his car, drives off swerving all over the road, right? At this point, the officer does have a reasonable suspicion that this guy is driving under the influence and gets to stop the person to investigate further. But at that point, he's not getting his handcuffs out. He doesn't have probable cause to arrest this person because there's no real evidence of a crime here. We just have some stumbling. We just have some swerving. But it gives us a good segue into probable cause, because probable cause means that an officer actually has some hard evidence that you've committed a crime or you're going to commit a crime. And when he's got that evidence, he can actually arrest you for that crime. So in our untrusting wife example, let's say your wife comes home early and discovers you making out with another woman. But your clothes are still on. You're not in the act, but you're getting there. Does she have probable cause at that point to convict you of cheating? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not allowed to make out with other women or even have them at the house when my wife's not there. So yes, your wife has established probable cause for cheating. You are done. Again, for a great defense on being caught in the act, you should consult Eddie Murphy. He's got a really good analysis on this. But I think all this will be cut out by the web people because they're going to censor me. I've now made 2 Eddie Murphy references in this video. And that is 2 more, by the way, than I'm allowed. So getting back to our example, let's take the situation for a guy that stumbled out of the bar, swerving. That's reasonable suspicion. And then the cop pulls him over based on that reasonable suspicion, rolls down the window, poof, smell of alcohol everywhere. Driver blows in the little machine over the legal limit. And then the driver's like, damn, I am so drunk, officer, I shouldn't have drove. Well, guess what? At this point, it's not reasonable suspicion. It's probable cause. We've gone all the way up to having hard evidence of DUI. And that officer is going to arrest that driver for DUI. Again, initially, a guy stumbling out of the bar and swerving a bit, that could have been a bad food reaction. That could have been, well, I haven't slept in 4 days. I just broke up with my girl. I mean, there's 100 reasons why we're disoriented. But once the smell of alcohol and all that and the admission to being drunk, then you got probable cause. So I hope you've learned something about reasonable suspicion and probable cause. And I hope that if you have a legal problem in Central Florida, give our office a call. This is what we do for a living. And I thank you for watching. Take care.
Hello, I'm Commander Adams with the Auburn Police Department, back again with another video to help explain the differences between reasonable suspicion and probable cause. These two terms are very important when it comes to use of force because without probable cause, officers in the state of Washington cannot use force to effect an arrest. Reasonable suspicion. A police officer may have reasonable suspicion that a crime is being committed if, based on all the facts and circumstances of the situation, a reasonable police officer would have the same suspicion. They could believe that a crime is occurring, about to occur, or has just occurred. Reasonable suspicion is used to stop somebody and investigate to hopefully establish probable cause or to eliminate that person as a suspect. Probable cause means the police officer not only has a suspicion that a crime has been or is being committed, but that police officer also has actual knowledge that the crime has been or is being committed. Some sort of evidence to link the crime to the person committing that crime. So, a real world example, a DUI or driving under the influence stop. If an officer is behind a vehicle and they see driving that would make that officer believe that that person is impaired, they have reasonable suspicion to stop that vehicle and investigate. When they stop the vehicle to investigate, they try to get evidence to show that the person is impaired, and therefore they develop probable cause to make an arrest. Those are the big differences between reasonable suspicion and probable cause. Under reasonable suspicion, you can be detained while we investigate, but you are not under arrest, and you are not free to leave at that time during the investigation. At the end of the investigation, if there's no probable cause for your arrest, you get to leave. If there is probable cause for your arrest, then you're under arrest. It's important to understand the differences between these two things. because officers only can make an arrest with probable cause. We can investigate with reasonable suspicion. Under the new House bills, we cannot use force to detain someone with reasonable suspicion. We only can use force to arrest someone under probable cause.
I think he's done wherever you put this. I think you can go anywhere in the United States and he'd be done. I think he's guilty, and I think
Evidence is evidence, regardless of the community that
it might be circumstantial, but when you got 30 little circumstantial points, it all.
I've never heard DNA is circumstantial, ever.
Okay, well, anyways,
Yeah, someone just tried to break into my car, and when I confronted them, they ran away. Okay, police are on the way. Thank you.
Hello everyone, it is Commander Adams and I am back again with yet another video to show you the difference between reasonable suspicion and probable cause. Today's video, Officer Melton is playing our reporting party or our victim that has just witnessed and called in an attempted vehicle prowl to his vehicle.
All right, sir, what happened today?
A guy tried to open my car door, and then when I walked up on him, he took off.
Are you missing anything from the vehicle?
I haven't been able to check yet, but he was trying my doorknob, and luckily I locked my car. So,
What did he look like?
he was a white male. Appeared to have a beard. Was wearing a dark sweatshirt and jeans. Is all I saw, and I think he was wearing a hat.
Would you be able to recognize him again if you saw him?
Yes.
And 1 Adam 6, I see the mail. Mail's running, no PC. I'm not in pursuit.
In this scenario you just watched, you saw the officer had reasonable suspicion to believe the subject that ran from him was the suspect in this incident. But because of the new House bills, we are not allowed to use force to detain someone that runs from us when we have reasonable suspicion.
One Adam 2, I believe I see my suspect sitting on a bench. Oh, I just got a photo. And that is him. I have probable cause to arrest him. Sir, what were you doing today?
Just hanging out in the parks and just walking around.
Are you in the parking lot over here behind us?
Yeah, I was earlier. I just walked through it though.
Sir, we have a picture of you trying to break into a vehicle. We've identified it as you, so you were under arrest. Please put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
In this second scenario, we showed probable cause. In both scenarios of reasonable suspicion and probable cause, both of our suspects were wearing very similar clothing and had a very similar description. The difference was our witness and victim was able to provide us a photo of the actual suspect, therefore giving us probable cause to make an arrest. When it comes to developing probable cause, we can use a photograph of the suspect, or we do a witness victim show up where we have the witness or victim point out to the person and confirm that that is our true suspect, therefore giving us probable cause to make an arrest. As you saw, once we had probable cause to make an arrest, the officers were able to use force, which is handcuffing, to place the subject under arrest. I know that reasonable suspicion and probable cause are very difficult sometimes to understand. We hope this video helped explain more in detail the difference between the two and the limitations we have as police officers when it comes to reasonable suspicion versus probable cause.
They got this guy in Germany, Fritz something or other. Or is it? Maybe it's Werner. Anyway, he's got this theory. You want to test something, scientifically. How the planets go around the sun, what sunspots are made of, why the water comes out of the tap. Well, you got to look at it. But sometimes you look at it, your looking changes it. You can't know the reality of what happened or what would have happened if you hadn't have stuck in your own goddamn schnoz. So there is no what happened. Looking at something changes it. They call it the uncertainty principle. Sure, it sounds screwy, but even Einstein says the guy's onto something. Science, perception, reality, doubt, reasonable doubt. I'm saying sometimes the more you look, the less you really know. It's a fact, a proved fact. In a way, it's the only fact there is.
On pages 1 to 4, no single statement in itself spells probable cause that would cause a reasonable person to believe that Brian was in the house at the time of the murders, along with Bethany, Dylan, and whoever else was with the two. The affiant has Brian driving around, trying to find a place to park. This is what happens when you're focused too much on filling in every detail that was recorded on CCTV anyway. Payne has Dylan remember too many insignificant and bare-bone details. Also, Dylan claims that she saw one person. There could have also been others in the house, as she retreats to her locked bedroom in a frozen shock state. Pages 1 through 4, there is no probable cause, nor is there any reason to suspect that those recorded events, according to Brett Payne, point or connect to Kohberger in any way.
On page 4 and 5, we learn of Dylan's run-in with an alleged intruder who is black-clad and his face covered. She can only make out bushy eyebrows. We know of 3 different males with them there. Bushy eyebrows, one connected to Dylan via her boyfriend, Quinn, and another who came from the area of the crime scene wearing a USA shirt. There is one other fella with bushy eyebrows who is connected with the house itself, but we'd like to keep the best for last. Between pages 6 and 10 of Brett Payne's super horrendous affidavit, the only reason to suspect Kohberger would be that the vehicle on footage the cops say they have do not show a front license plate. These things do screw on and off, but we will give reasonable suspicion to Payne for this one reason alone until now. Brett Payne's discovery of a 2015 Hyundai Elantra only says that he went into the system, found Kohberger's traffic stop info from August 2022, and had the person who would eventually go down for something that somebody else did. Who killed Zana? Did a man or a woman stab Madison in her bed while wearing a dark overgarment? How many males and or females fatally assault Kaylee? I want you to start talking, people. Talk to me, and I will let you know where to send it.
It should be pointed out how, on November 29th, 2 weeks after the murders, peace officers at Washington State University contact Moscow investigators after locating Brian's white Elantra parked on campus where he lived while attending university. We believe that Brett Payne fished Brian out of the Idaho law enforcement database since he was pulled over by Lata Sheriff Deputy Duke a few months prior, and then orchestrated the mock bolo that turned up one white Elantra, which wasn't even the year of model police, had been parading around in the media, even until Christmas of that year. Shameless. Now, if Brett Payne believed that Brian and his bushy eyebrows was his suspect, wouldn't a reasonable person want to search his vehicle for DNA from any of the victims? That proves right there that law enforcement didn't find it necessary to pull all of that they did with Pennsylvania. If Brett Payne, or any law enforcement official worth his salt, reasonably believed that they had probable cause to arrest Brian, detain him for a DNA sample, and seize his vehicle for crucial evidence, so they would have. What do you think?
There are so many notes that we gathered about the probable cause affidavit, but here, we're only pointing out those sentences or claims in the affidavit that are meant to make an impression. However, until page 18, not a single claim crosses the threshold to arrive at probable cause. On page 14, we believe that a reasonable person would consider getting a closer look at the cell phone data. The problem that we have is that Payne is referring to 9 o'clock in the morning of the murders. Yes, we see the impression that he's trying to impose on us. But here's the thing. If we get to trial just to learn deeper into the cell phone data that Brian has receipts from a store in area of the Palouse Mall in Moscow, just like he was on August 21st when he was pulled over by a sheriff deputy, won't it deflate the entire impression that we had when we first heard that Brian was messing with the girl's router? There's a big difference between physically stalking someone from someone whose phone unknowingly draws a signal from the same 25-mile radius that yours does, and having somebody focusing on you from their vehicle. We believe that the 12 or 13 times that Brian's phone used a cell tower that King Road residents used, meaning all King Road residents and others in the vicinity, and that it was and still is Brett Payne's intention to give you impressions without being specific. We give him reasonable suspicion, which would require a closer look at the cell phone data, but if you watch our video, entitled Phone 8458 and also Brett Payne's Escape Route 3, you will see for yourself how his data does not add up. There's a number of mistakes and miscalculations in the affidavit. Watch our videos and see for yourself.